The solar plexus chakra is the organizer. It's in the third center and considered a single chakra. But, as the word plexus suggests, a fusion of many different energies, midway between the rib cage and the navel. It also corresponds to the lumbar vertebrae in the spine. The physical attributes of the solar plexus chakra fall into the three main areas of digestion: the nervous system and the immune systems. With the digestion, the process of digestion and the assimilation of nutrients is vital to sustain life. The organs linked to the solar plexus are the stomach, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, duodenum, and small intestine. For digestion and the assimilation of the nutrients to be successful, all these organs have to work in harmony. This involves a series of chemical reactions using a great many different catalysts. From alkaline, enzyme-rich saliva in the mouth, food moves to the acidity of the stomach. Here it is, churn, thoroughly mixing the natural acids and enzymes. It then pauses into the duodenum, where the bile from the liver, via the gallbladder, begins to break down fats and more enzymes from the pancreas. Then they begin to act upon sugars and the carbohydrates. As the mixture moves through the small intestine, the valuable nutrients from the food are absorbed through the wall of the intestine and into the bloodstream. Failure to digest food efficiently means that nutrients are not absorbed. With the immune system, it works like a library or a computer. It stores all categories of information about everything the body encounters. For instance, on meeting a virus, the body recognizes as an enemy and activates the defense mechanisms to fight and overcome the infection. If the body later encounters the same virus again, it has the information to prevent a serious invasion. Problems with the identification process often show up when the body reacts to harmless or even beneficial substances, as they are dangerous. This is experienced as an allergy or an intolerance. The opposite malfunction happens when the body harbors an infection for a long period of time because it fails to recognize its presence, so it neglects to fight it at all. Difficulties occur when the body fails to recognize its own enzymes, hormones, or neurotransmitters, and sometimes there's an instability to recognize minerals and vitamins that should be absorbed by the small intestine. These problems surface as deficiencies, but do not respond to increased intake because the problem is not lack, but a failure to recognize the substance. The solar plexus chakra is put under great pressure by the way we live today. Its physical functions are strained by the types of food we eat, the pace of life, and the new toxins in our environment. It is not surprising that so many diseases in our society today are a sign of some dysfunction in the solar plexus chakra. Solar plexus chakra is the sun of contentment. The solar plexus chakra is often identified with the element of fire. Our emotional reaction to fire is twofold. Fire gives us warmth and comfort, but brings fear and terror when it gets out of control. This echoes the emotional breath in the solar plexus chakra. The fear, the key negative emotion that spawns all others in fear. It can become an underlining emotion that drives other everyday emotions and reactions. Fear arises in any situation where the outcome seems beyond the capacity of the mind to determine, and there is the inability to simply relax. The mind conjures up limitless scenarios and gets locked into self-defeating thought processes of what if. Fear can escalate into terror or subside into anxiety in any area of life. Issues concerning personal power are part of the solar plexus function. As children, we're subject to the guidance of our parents, relatives, and teachers, all of whom we related to and possibly still relate to as figures of authority. If people in authority use their dominant position to force us into habit patterns that take our personal power from us, the solar plexus becomes effectively blocked. Failure to access this dominance is often met by criticism and punishment. Subsequently, we may feel shame for this lack of compliance. Shame prevents us from working with the solar plexus chakra, and at the emotional level, this drives us into interacting with the world primarily through our thoughts. With healing in this area can be approached in several ways, allowing things to be as they are rather than trying to control the events. Help to remove fears. Express the fire energy, as anger helps us to link the solar plexus with the sacra and the base chakras. People who experience a lot of anger often live so much in the minds that they do not realize how angry they are, especially with regard to authority figures who have dominated and disempowered them. Shame can often be recognized as an internal conversations that replay critical comments from the past. Here are the mental criticisms, which effectively acts in the same way as a curse, and they need to be neutralized by formulating an imaginary response from an adult standpoint. The shame that might be felt from the past humiliation by authority figure can be neutralized in the present by visualizing the situation, changing the balance of power, and bringing the authority figure down to his or her proper size. Threats and rules that restrict our natural exuberance easily block our solar plexus. The unknown cannot be controlled because there's a lack of information, and the mind becomes anxious and fearful. When the solar plexus chakra is functioning well, we're able to accept happiness in our lives, and we can feel and appreciate the joy of the simplest of situations. Here's an exercise for visualizing the sun. You can use this visualized exercise to invite the warmth and joy into your life. And this is a good exercise to do if you have feelings of unease or fear that you want to dispel. Using the positive aspects and strengths of the sun, you will create a feeling of security and contentment. Sit or lie down comfortably and wrap a blanket around you. If the day is cool, breathe in as you breathe out. Allow yourself to relax. Imagine a sphere of golden light beginning to form between your navel and the bottom of your rib cage. Imagine the sphere is also giving off comfortable warmth. Allow the sphere to grow until it enfolds your whole body. Stay still for a few minutes, allowing the light and warmth to fill every part of your body. Imagine the sphere shrinking back until it's the size of a tennis ball, and allow the small sphere to sink into your abdomen. Before shrinking it down to the size of a pea, let the imaginary dissolve. Bring your attention back to everyday awareness. Working at the mental level with the solar plexus chakra is one of the most powerful tools we can have in our disposal to create our personal circumstances, our own heaven or hell. Sages and philosophers have known for thousands of years that personal belief systems, the thoughts by which we recognize and understand how the world appears to work, are the critical importance to our well-being. Like a librarian or a custodian, this part of the body-mind catalogs and files away experiences and information for reference and retrieval when it's required. To carry out this organizational task efficiently, it is necessary to be able to identify things clearly and accurately, to label them correctly, and to file them away in the right place and cross-index where necessary. Failure to store information properly results in many difficulties. Confusion and fear often arise from false identification. Incorrect filing also creates confusion, learning problems, and difficulties in remembering. Inability to introduce cross-referencing severely limits the ability to integrate experiences. If we are forced into certain learning situations before the solar plexus chakra, our personal librarian is mature enough to cope blocks occur, and then around the issues involved we develop negative belief systems about them. So these beliefs will affect the way in which we interact with the world around us and create a disharmony in relationships. And stress builds up, and unless action is taken to correct the inaccurate beliefs, it usually results in physical, emotional, and mental difficulties linked to the solar plexus chakra. If we are unable to identify events clearly, our capacity to judge weighs up alternatives to make decisions, and they become very limited. The solar plexus chakra controls our ability to identify problems and to find solutions to unlock our understanding. Memory has been shown to function as a whole brain rather than specific areas. In order to retrieve memories, communication within the brain needs to be effective. In any learning situation, the information that needs to be learned has to be identified as such, so that it can be subsequently cataloged correctly in the brain, in the body, and in the spirit. Inability to learn or study may be as a result of forced or inappropriate learning situations in early life. Stresses once created here will be remembered by the body and mind every time, and as similar situations arise. If the stress around the events can be released, new learning strategies can emerge. Know thyself. The solar plexus chakra is the spiritual level applies to its energies to defining the boundaries of the self, the individual. The challenge at this level is to gain wisdom and insight into the true nature of the self beyond this everyday level of persona. It is not possible to define who you are unless you can also identify who and what you are not. Here is the discrimination and judgment of the mental level of the solar plexus is brought to bear on the inner self. When you know who you are, you can start to understand your place in the world. When we shine that clear light of understanding on ourselves, the first thing we tend to notice is its faults and problems that have apparently been created by us and others. But as long as we look more closely, and the need to blame others for the predicament in which we find ourselves recedes, we begin to realize that the only way forward is to transform the way we judge ourselves and others. A major sign of progress along the path to wisdom is accepting that the world owes you nothing and that you are no more important than anything else. We are all important. We are all connected. The solar plexus issues often arise from how we perceive ourselves in terms of our personal power. If through experiences with overbearing authority figures have been led to believe that we are clumsy, stupid, worthless, or bad, our whole relationship to the world will reflect this. We will feed powerlessness and prone to failure become our perceived faults. Similarly, if we become to believe that we are superior to other people, our actions will reflect this, and there will be a tendency to ignore the wisdom of the others and forget about our own shortcomings and failures. In both situations, current events or circumstances might be identical, but the powerlessness factor on failure while the powerful force on success. Looking with the spiritual discrimination of the solar plexus chakra, both of these viewpoints have been created by incomplete information. Our own interpretation of reality is colored by our other people's eyes, minds, and emotions. It is the job of the solar plexus to realize at a spiritual level that all such judgments are limited and ultimately false. Our own view of ourselves and others is no more sustainable than clothing or masks. The solar plexus energy can be best employed as a power to do something, but very often slides into the power of others. This turns into a competitive race, where we all try to sort ways out to be better than others, more wealthy, more intelligent, more happy, and more spiritual. If the energies have been distorted by bad experiences, we become more hard done by, more lonely, and so on. Allowing the solar plexus an opportunity to shine with the clarity of the sun encourages a broader perspective where false judgments can begin to be seen as an ephemeral shadows they really are. Embrace and accept yourself the same way you love and appreciate your closest friends. It is necessary to turn our attention away from our outer stimuli if we are to see ourselves clearly. In nearly all spiritual philosophies, the wisdom of the self has been compared to the light of the sun. The perfect clarity of the solar plexus chakra clearly illuminates everything for what it is. Yellow is a bright, sunny color. Most people will recognize the sensation of warmth and vitality when looking at a strong, pure yellow. Like the energy of a bright, sunny morning, yellow brings clarity and awareness. And with all colors, different yellows will create markedly different responses. An orange yellow or golden color imparts a sense of establishment, of solidity and assuredness, a rich, round sensation of inner warmth. A clean, light yellow seems to clear the mind while keeping it alert and active, in a state of readiness. An acid yellow can be stimulating and enlivening, and a shade of yellow that has just a touch of green, however, will create a degree of discomfort, disorientation, and even nausea. The function of yellow vibration has to do with the decision making with what to do in any given situation. Decisions rely on information, but more importantly, on the ability to select bits of information that are relevant. Discrimination, knowing what is yellow, skill upon which we can constantly rely on for our well-being, physically and mentally. The digestive system, the immune system, and the nervous system all reflect yellow frequencies. This function of the digestive system are to break down, identify, and absorb those substances that the body requires for maintenance and growth, and to eliminate from the system those substances that are harmful or unnecessary. The color yellow is naturally associated with the sun itself, and so with its life-giving, sustaining energy, lemons and yellow flowers are instant reminders of these qualities and an easy way to access them. Honey, the concentrated energy of sunlight, turned into nectar sugars by plants and processed by bees, has many yellow qualities. It helps the digestive system and is an energizing and powerful immune system booster. You can put yellow in your life when there is confusion and indecision, fear or anxiety caused by unknown factors leading to nervousness or digestive disorders, a weak or confused immune system, frequent minor illnesses, intolerances, and allergies to food and other substances, your nervous system exhaustion, or nervous system breakdown, burnout, panic or attacks, hot flushes, poor memory or the inability to concentrate or study, tendency to seasonal affective disorder, or lethargy or depression in dull weather, digestive system difficulties, and malabsorption of food. The light in the morning sun is stimulating and enlivening to plants and daytime creatures, including us. And yellow enriches, enlightens, and activates many of the systems of the body, and it tends to encourage orderliness and clarity. When working at a computer, use a yellow mouse mat to improve your concentration and stay alert. Also, eating outside in natural sunlight improves digestion and gives a sense of good well-being. These are just some of the ways you can incorporate yellow into your life. Feel free to get creative. Maybe put a yellow bottle up on a window, wear a yellow shirt, whatever feels right for you. These are ways to stimulate and improve your solar plexus. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.